If you watch one BSC Expo video, this is it. This is the BSC Expo 2026. Let's go in. Red just announced the Raptor XE. It's behind me. Let's go find out more about it. This is the new XE announced.
XE.
Is it possible to ask some questions at interview you?
The only reason I can't is because our product team have to do interviews.
And just like that, I was unable to interview anyone from Red. But anyways, this is what we discussed. The Raptor XE is essentially a more streamlined version of the Raptor XL. Same sensor, same core performance, but Red have stripped out a lot of the high-end features that most creators simply don't need. Things like cine highlights, certain virtual production tools, and the extreme frame rate. Instead of 4K 240 and 8K 120, you're looking at 4K 120 and 8K 60. The result is a smaller body, more focused feature set, and a price around £11,500. This feels like Red saying, you don't need anything or you don't need everything, just the right things.
When is ZR getting better codecs?
Well, we are listening to our customers. We just recently updated our ZR a couple of weeks ago, and added some new features in there for our customers that have requested.
Okay.
So we are listening. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but hopefully in the future it may well happen.
And open gates?
That is one of the things that we do feedback to our developers that our customers are requesting.
Is it possible to say, or is it good to say that there's a newer version of the ZR coming soon?
Well, this one is our first Z cinema camera.
Okay.
So first.
And then we're off to the Fujifilm booth. While I was testing the Eterna 55 prepping for my interview, something interestingly happened. I was even recording, and the amazing Brady Bessette casually walked across the frame. Moments like that are what these expos are about.
How do you come about this lighting? What's your first take on lighting?
I think my root of it all is because I love playing with light. I love crafting up a look. It's a way to really express creatively for me. The root of it all is like, what is my inspiration? So whether it's emotionally motivating or visually motivating, but it's like, I think in my day-to-day life, I'm always looking at natural light, like taking notes from real life. Like, whether it's
how light moves in space?
Yeah, well, how light moves in space, exactly. Whether it's real daylight or it's like practical stuff like neon lights in a bar. Just taking note of like, what are elements that I like? How is it casting? Liv, my girlfriend, I always stare at awkwardly and I'm like, don't move. Like, how's this look? And then just kind of taking elements from that. So then when I come into a scene and I'm like, how do I want to light this? It's like, oh, I liked the way that looked, or I liked how it was filled with tungsten lighting, or the sun was skipping off the floor and created a nice little skip bounce. That's one thing I love doing.
And after spending some time with Brady, thank you, Brady, for your time. We went back to the Fujifilm booth. The Eterna 55 feels like Fujifilm leaning hard into the cinematic color science. It's not about resolution here. It's about tone, skin tones. It's about the mood you can create. This is the kind of look you choose intentionally for narrative work, not just because it's new. And yeah, this camera is riggable.
Well, this camera, this beautiful, large format, IMAX certified camera. Why did they come up with it? Because they could. And they wanted to make a statement and create the most wonderful, small, relatively affordable way into large format cinematography. And you're looking at it with dual screens, electronic variable ND, you can load LUTs, you've got a screen, you've got a top handle. It's a really nice, it's a sensor, it's 4:3, okay, IMAX ratio, and you can put almost anything on the front. That's the exciting bit. All the glass you love, cheap and expensive on the front.
What surprised early testers of these cameras?
What surprised them? I think the image is the biggest surprise. I think the biggest learning, if you like, when you try this, is we're all used to aspect ratios of 16:9 in our cameras, So our negative space tends to be left or right. Suddenly you've got a 4:3 aspect ratio. So you do start to frame differently when you use it, because you can put your negative space high or low. And so naturally you that's the biggest thing, is you start to see your lenses differently because you can see more on your glass as well. So that's one of the biggest surprises. The other thing that everyone loves It's a really simple thing.
Yeah.
Is operator side and AC side identical. No other camera has that. It means you can operate it from both sides. You can lock each side as well.
Okay.
If you don't like the person on the other side, you can keep them from changing your settings.
Messing things up. Unscrewing you on set.
And you see today we've got like full integration with T-stop and distance data with our Premista and Duvo via the data through here into the camera. Or you've got anamorphic or cinema primes.
Yeah.
Lots of different glass. And it doesn't have to be expensive glass either.
I've used Accsoon transmitters for years. They've been really reliable, affordable, and surprisingly solid even on demanding shoots. The CineView M7 series has been out for a while now, but this was the first time seeing it in person, and honestly, it looks better in real life than it does online. The build feels premium, the screen is sharp.
I like the size, it's 7 inches. Is there a 5-inch version of this monitor?
Not at the moment. We're doing the 7-inch. I mean, part of the reason we're not so far produced a whole bunch of different ranges is it's about the LED panel that we've got there. We've spent a lot of time trying to find the right kind of panel because we wanted to make sure that the product we put out doesn't just do the kind of the marketing stuff, it's a high quality product. So all of our panels, all of our monitors are color calibrated in the factory, and you'll get, when you buy it, you get the calibration data. You get your Kalman calibration data from your specific model within there, and there's a calibration LUT that's loaded in. And we're very nice. If you accidentally manage to delete your calibration up and LUT from there, you can just email us, and we'll pull it out of our database and send it to you again. So yeah, I mean, the idea wasn't just to produce a wireless monitor that will work. The idea was to produce a wireless monitor that was high quality, color calibrated.
And Collins from Accsoon walked me through the patented wireless tech, which is designed to prioritize stability over range. That's important because on set, dropouts matter more than distance.
There's one unique thing about all of our Accsoon products, which is our dual and tri-band technology. So for the wireless video transmission, we have the most rock solid signal you can get.
I've experienced that.
It's like, when we say dual band, we say 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz.
Yes.
And we mean that the video signal is sent simultaneously over both bands at the same time, and it's received at the other end simultaneously, and the receiver will look at both signals and pull packets from the both of them, so there's no packet loss. It's like, I don't know if you know, like live view bonded technology. It's a bonded technology. Nobody else does that because we have the patent on it. Everyone else, they'll jump between 2.4 and 5, so every time it jumps, you lose signal. So that's one thing that makes these more robust as a wireless monitor system. But also, what makes it unique is it is based around an Android tablet, right? So it's a high-quality color panel that is also an Android tablet. So if you want to bring in other apps, if you, for example, you can put RED control on there if you're a RED shooter. If you want to be able to have it as a nice high-quality monitor, but you also just want to quickly change camera settings, you can just swap over to RED control, change the settings there, or just use it as a RED control-based monitor.
So if I get bored on set, I can load an Android game and just...
Yeah, somebody put Fruit Ninja on this one. I don't even know who did it. Yeah. But yeah, Fruit Ninja's on there. So yeah, you can play Candy Crush or whatever.
Can I record to the monitor? Can I connect a USB-C device and record to that device?
Yeah, so the monitor itself does internal recording. You can choose H.264 or H.265, and you can adjust the...
You record your YouTube videos while on set. How easy has it become for you? What's the technique to just be on set and just get these tutorials going?
It's tough. I mean, it's something I struggled with a lot in the early years.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy to have a DP brain and then a YouTube brain. It sucks. I still hate it. But I think it becomes a little bit more normal because I do it so frequently.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times, one thing I'll do is I'll bring a guy to shoot BTS of me, or I'll drag my girlfriend to shoot BTS of me, and just throw a mic on me. And I think that I prompt them. I'm like, I'm gonna ignore you the whole day. I need you to come find me in a moment that feels slow and say something. So then I can snap out and be like, oh yeah, let me talk about what I'm doing. So it's really like a working relationship with my BTS shooter. For them to direct me almost, because when I'm DPing, But when I'm gaffing, I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm fully in that because it occupies so much.
I've been using Sigma lenses for over a decade. From the DSLR days to mirrorless, they've consistently delivered sharp, reliable glass. But this time, I wanted to understand the new Aizu primes. These cinematic lenses sit somewhere between Sigma's classic character line of cinema lenses and the ultra clean standard range.
So the Aizu range of primes are built from the ground up. So our previous series of lenses, the full frame high-speed cine and our classic lenses were built off of our DSLR lenses, whereas these are built from the ground up. It's a nice middle ground between our two previous series of lenses as well, so it's got more character. It's a lot more characterful. They're all T1.3 throughout the whole range as well, starting at 25 all the way up to 75 millimeter. Like we're going up to 35, 65, so we're pretty much covering every single prime that you need. We've also announced a 18 millimeter and a 125 millimeter. Those apertures probably won't be T1.3 just due to the type of lens that they are. They also
Why?
Fit it. Just in terms of the way
Size.
Yes, yeah, and the way that the optics work. If we wanted to keep it 1.3, the lens would probably have to be a lot bigger. And great little features across all of our cine lenses is that the gearing on them all matches up. So no matter what, if I do it that way, so no matter what lens you've got on, if you've got a rig that already connects, you can just slot them straight in. All of these text markings as well are luminous, and so if you've got that in a bag, or if you're in a darker scene, this will light up so you can see what it is. It's really cool when we're putting them away of an evening that everything glows.
So it's easy to spot what
a lot easier
lens
to
you
spot.
have.
Yes, and all this glows on the bottom there as well.
Matt from Sigma explained the goal was balance, control character, modern rendering without losing personality, and that's a smart move, I think, in today's market. And then I walked back to Accsoon and saw something I wasn't expecting at all, a vertical multicam monitoring setup. It looked unusual at first, but when you think about how much content is being shot vertically these days, it actually makes a lot of sense.
I was saying that, in China the big thing is vertical dramas, so they shoot a lot of pages in a really short space of time. So they're always working with 3 cameras. So we developed this specifically for that market. 3 monitors set vertically. So
how does this work? This is heavy.
It's heavy.
Yeah,
it's
but how
heavy,
does it
right? But like, if you're trying to monitor 3 cameras at once, what other solution have you got?
This.
You know, I mean, you can put a neck strap on it, so it's there. But
I understand the idea, but what's the setup like? You have 3 monitors. They're all SDI, or is it?
Well, I mean,
it's the same M7.
Well, this is a director's monitor, right? So the 3 monitors are our M7 Pro monitors, so they're wirelessly receiving from the other transmitters. So this is set up as a transmitter. We just don't have the cameras set vertically, but this is wireless receiving signals from 3 of our cameras set up here. So if you are doing a really like high, heavy, fast-moving vertical production, with 3 cameras running constantly, you can monitor them all.
Can I have this as horizontal as well if I want?
I'm trying to convince them to do like a 2-camera horizontal version, so it's effectively like this with the handles and the aerials on top.
This could be a niche, or it could be a glimpse into where production is heading. Either way, it definitely caught my attention. I was also fortunate enough to bump into Rodney Charters. If you don't know the name, you've definitely seen his work. 24, The Pretender, Going in Style, Sleepwalkers, amongst a lot. Award-winning cinematographer. I mean, I've interrupted his lunch. Apologies again, Rodney. But he was generous enough to share a few insights. And those conversations are honestly what make events like this special.
Question, what do you think about the growth of quick short-form content?
It's challenging. Right now, I think it's fairly flat. Lighting isn't the best. But there's so much of it being done worldwide now that I think anyone who has a distinctive ability to control the image and it doesn't get fired by the production will evolve towards doing better, and it has to be very fast. The short form is very fast. I think it's all LED. It's often handheld because they don't have time to mount and hide lights. But yet they're compelling because the stories. It's all about the story and the performance of the cast. I'm very grateful that there are still humans involved.
I was going to ask AI. What's the take of AI in the film industry?
Well, you know, if you want a shot of 12 ships at sea in an armada with some jet aircraft taking off for an aircraft carrier, you ain't going to get that. And yet I've seen AI already this last week where I would completely believe that that was it was shot. But nobody's ever going to assemble a fleet of battleships like that. So there are situations where even big solid productions will go for the AI version because they can save a lot of money.
Atlas are preparing to release new anamorphic lenses. What stood out is the ability to tune flare characteristics. That alone opens up creative control most anamorphics don't offer. They range from T2.9 to T16.
This is the first time I'm seeing this. How come?
Well, it's not out yet.
It's not out.
And we have announced it, but it's not out yet. And this is one of the first looks of the early prototypes of the Kaizen 65s.
Okay. What would I notice first time using this away from the competitors?
Yeah, so these lenses were specifically designed for the new growth of 65 millimeter formats of digital sensors. So we have already seen it with the Alexa 265, the Ursa 17K, where the 65 millimeter format is built for the wider end, but for the Fujifilm GFX Eterna 55, they're diving into the 65 sensor formats that are taller for the first time. And yes, 4:3 aspect ratios look really, really cool, but the really cool thing about anamorphic lenses is that's the whole point. It uses the tall portions of either a sensor or the film gate and compresses more information horizontally to make it an immersive experience. So we're tying back into that history of taking advantage of really tall aspect ratios and de-squeezing it into an immersive experience. So in the Fujifilm GFX Eterna's case, they have a 4:3 sensor. So with this 1.5 squeeze ratio, it would de-squeeze into a 2:1 aspect ratio, which is very common in digital deliverables, especially for streaming services or even YouTube. So I think it's the perfect balance between cinema aspect ratios and also digital deliverables for streaming.
Is this only available in PL?
This is actually LPL. This is our first LPL mount camera lens because, I mean, bigger sensors require bigger rear elements because we like to design optics that are projecting images to the sensor parallel to the sensor because the way film works in digital, it works a little bit differently. And without getting too much into it, if you cheat the lens covering a bigger sensor by having a cone effect, the way the light rays hit the sensor actually is affected because if it's film, that's totally fine. But for digital, the way sensors work is they would rather have the light rays hit the sensor directly, like parallel to the light rays. So we didn't want to cheat it by just having it PL. We took it a step further of let's make it LPL so that the light rays hit exactly for color reproduction and looks.
Thank you. I see 65. Do we have other focal length? Or what's the range?
Yeah, the range is going to be from a 35 millimeter all the way to a 100. It's going to be a 5 lens set, 35, 40, 50, 75, and 100.
What's the price range? When are we expecting it to be released?
We haven't announced prices officially just yet, but we are thinking about a ballpark of around 15,000 a lens. 15,000. But that is very, very up in the air.
For one lens?
For one lens.
So 15K for one lens, the whole set looking at around 9,500.
Something like that. We have done some like set-based pricing before, but it's once again we're very early in stages of this market when we're trying to hear feedback from people like yourselves actually. So we want to hear what people want to see. These are actually also one of the first customizable lenses as well. So not only the sensor format is bigger, but because of how low volume we're going to be making these, it allows for customizability for many clients.
How are you enjoying London?
I love London. I think it's a blast. I've been here a handful of times. We've come out here. It's a good layover spot for when we go out elsewhere in Europe.
Okay.
And I think it's a great time. And this is my first time at BSC, and I didn't even know it existed until a week ago.
Really?
Because I was out here for a job, and my friend told me I got to come to BSC. So I came here, and it's a great show.
The Longshot was built specifically to give people more lens options for 16 millimeter. So 16 millimeter film, beautiful, but there's like maybe 2 or 3 sets of primes that most rental houses have. There's a few zooms. Don't necessarily have a lot of character, and there's almost no options for anamorphic lenses. So if you shoot a lot of 16 millimeter, you might be feeling like you wish you had more lenses, so that's where this came from. This specifically was built to take the field of view, the depth of field, the character of full frame lenses, and project that image down to Super 16. So we have the Alexa 35 here for demonstration. If we had a film camera, it's not the best way to look at the image through like a video tap through the viewfinder on the film camera. So we have the Alexa 35 here. This is Super 16, 2K Super 16 mode on the Alexa 35, but getting this kind of image with this depth of field. This is a 75 millimeter 1.5 squeeze anamorphic, and you're getting that look, the look of that on 16 millimeter. So if I had a mini LF over here and I put the same lens on that camera, you'd be seeing the same field of view. But now we're capturing that onto 16 millimeter film. So you get the look of 16 millimeter film, the grain, the texture, the beautiful look of it, but all these new looks from all these new lenses you can now use with it.
I've seen the new lights palette. I haven't the PaletteLab. I haven't seen this anywhere. I've reviewed most of it, like the ML series, the LA and the LE. Why this? What's the difference?
So the PaletteLab is our new series from Godox. So the PaletteLab, it means there's the colors that we can mix together and to achieve more accurate performance.
More accuracy.
Yeah. So we put the advanced color science into this whole series. And you can see from this whole series, we've got different power levels. From 115 up to the 1200. So for this whole series, it's all with the most, the new color science called PaletteLab. So for each the PaletteLab COB lights, it has the most accurate color. And it mixed with the perfect white light to give you the best skin tone. And also all the data shows very good. For example, like SSI up to the 92.
92 SSI?
Yeah. TLCI, CRI is all 99.
99.
Yeah,
nice.
very good. Yeah.
What's the price range? Say the 150, the 200. What's the price range?
It's still secret, but it will come at end of the March.
End of March.
We will release this one. And also actually this PaletteLab is the full spectrum color engine. What is full spectrum? And we all know from the light spectrum, from the visible light, there is red up to the purple. So in this case, the PaletteLab, we start from deep red to red orange, to green, to the etc. to the royal blue, to the violet, to the indigo. So we cover all the light spectrum to achieve the full spectrum to give you the best color performance.
Oh, nice. Why did Godox think about this now? Why now?
Yeah, because we start from RGB and jump to the RGBW. And the RGBW now is the normal lamp that we have. But for some artists, for some content creators, especially for some in the film industry, for the commercial ads, they are very sensitive to the colors. And the more colors means more emotional. Then give the things looks different, add more emotional value to it. So all the PaletteLab series is not good. It's not only give you the good enough, but give you the perfect skin tone, the colors. So add more values into your content.
So we are in a very noisy environment. What would you say about the quietness of the fans, the cooling? Tell me.
Yeah, the cooling system is for Godox. I think our engineers, not only for the PaletteLab, for all our COB lights, we extremely care about the cooling system because more about the power efficiency. If you want use your lab, for example, like use for a long time, the cooling efficiency is very, very important.
Hollyland is set to release the Pyro Ultra. Let's go meet Lawrence, who will tell us everything about this new release.
Basically, it has a lot of like new features that comes with the system compared to our other Pyro family, like a Pyro H, Pyro S, for the wireless monitors. Okay, so I mean, I cannot share like too much information. I think a few keynotes about this one is first about the latency. So it drops down from the 50-60 millisecond to like around 20-ish, 22 milliseconds. The product itself. So don't have the expectation too high. All right, adding the camera latency cables is still going to be a few frames dropping. And then the second one, range.
Yeah, the range.
So this one is supposed to connect like able to cover about like 1.5 kilometers. So it's much bigger than what.
With the 20 ms. With 20 ms and what?
Well, it's supposed to be, all right? Don't get me wrong. Okay. So when it being released, then you guys will know the official figure, okay? And then the third one is going to be, this is a transmitter, while the other one, the blue one, is a receiver. So it's supposed to connect with unlimited receivers. Okay.
Unlimited.
Yeah. So
100, 1,000, 2,000.
Yeah. Well, it's quite expensive to get a receiver, anyways. So
In terms of pricing, any ideas?
Pricing?
Range?
I think probably it's gonna be like around 1,200 like USD or something for a pair. Yeah, around. Okay, so that's the price point that you guys can look at. And for 1 to 2, like one transmitter to 2 receivers, probably around like 15, ish USD.
Is there any V-mount version of this or adapters to mount V-mount batteries, or is it just Sony MPFs?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. But most likely it's not going to be. Yeah, because like for like the Pyro 7, then we can kind of easily like swap it. But for this one, I'm not really sure. Yeah, because it's relatively small, I would say. So a big V mount doesn't make much sense.
If you're gonna mount it like on the back of a rig, to have a V mount,
usually DTAP. I think that would be the good option. Yeah.
What was the main reason for making this?
This one?
Yes.
I would say the key aim is to take our current wireless solutions to the next level. So basically to offer a better solution for the users, for the community. So that's always what we've been doing, like with the COM.
So these are the new, we call them M snaps. It's really it's really the older batteries that we used to have. There's a BPA and a BPU style.
Yeah.
And the difference between the BPA and the BPU style and the Nano M is that they stack the charge. So now you can have, if you're using Canon batteries, you can have multiple Canons, Sony batteries, or the F is for for all the L series, but it's more for accessories. It's not for a camera style because the back just doesn't fit into it.
Yeah.
But you can stack them up to charge. And you notice I did it the other way, and the magnets aren't right, so it tells you don't do it.
Yeah.
But you can stack them, you can plug it in, and you plug it in anywhere you want, and it'll charge the lowest battery first. Once all the voltage hits the same, then they all come up together.
Cool. Can I charge them individually?
Oh yeah, charge them it doesn't matter. You can charge every one just like that, or you can put them together.
And I can charge these on my MPF?
Yep, charges on an OEM charger. We don't make a charger for these.
Okay.
But you can charge on any OEM charger that they make, Sony, Canon, that style, and then it goes on like that, or you can charge it through the USB-C.
So that's really nice, because if I have a Sony MPF charger, I can put this in the charger, stack these guys up, and it charges. Is that possible?
No.
I have to go through the PD.
Yeah, you have to go through the USB-C PD.
I see. Oh,
nice thought.
Yeah.
That's a great thought, but no, I don't. I will tell you no, because I'm not 100% sure, but I know we don't go from here up.
Yeah.
It's only this way.
Only this way. And I can also go through here. That's the P-tap port.
Yep.
Can I?
P-tap port.
All right, nice.
Yeah, now this one doesn't have a P-tap port because this is not a 14-volt battery.
Okay.
There's only 7.2.
That's the Sony MPF one.
Yep.
Okay.
So these are 14, so they have both the outputs.
Yeah.
So you're good to go that way.
So tell me about these ones.
So the XL, I mean, they're just they don't have the PD Pro ports out the top.
Okay.
They have USB, USB-C.
And D-tap.
And then on the other side, it's many for content creators. Okay. There's a lot of different accessories. You have 2 different barrel connectors. You have the P-tap. It's an entry-level battery for people who don't have the cash to get to like the Nano X. Mm-hmm. It does have an OLED display in it. There it comes up. Let it come up. There you go. It gives you hours and minutes. It'll give you percentage rate, all that same. You can also load your own logo in here.
For real?
Yeah, so if you had your logo of a company, you put it into the USB, follow the directions, and it loads up your logo. So where here it says...
USB or wirelessly?
No, just USB.
USB.
Yeah, unfortunately. And the USB has to be under a 32 gig.
Okay.
We're ancient.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that the battery's looking through the data, and it has to see a smaller file cell. Okay. If you do a 64 gig, there's too much to search. The battery can't find it. So it's meant really, an 8 gig is the best, but those are ancient. You find an 8 gig anywhere,
Can you change the LED lights of this?
Yeah. No, not in this one.
Oh, not this one.
That's only the Nano X. You can change the cells. These are just standard.
So these are
it doesn't have all the features of like a Nano X.
Yeah.
The same cells, casing and the LED are a little different.
I see it's very, very light for 99 and 150 watts.
Yeah.
What's the pricing on these batteries?
We have some promos going on right now, but if you're not on the promo, these are $189 and $259.
Okay.
So $189 for this pounds and $259 pounds. But right now they're the $149 pounds on promo.
So we have here 2 different options. We have our 26 volt battery and 14 volt battery.
Okay.
So following the same principles, we keep voltages separated so we know they're the same. But one of the big complaints we've had from rentals is they don't like dedicated chargers for a 14 and 26 volt solution.
Okay.
So what we developed is a charger that will allow you to put either a 14 and a 26 on at the same time. They'll recognize the battery and be able to charge them both. So you can have one charger for a rental company, both voltage batteries, and that's all you'd ever require. Okay. That's one of the big things we want to try and achieve.
Why would you recommend the HWs or Hawkwood's batteries over the competitors?
So it depends on the type of customer that you are. So Hawkwood's as a manufacturer is always really specialised in cine rental. We build everything on the base of 2 main things, which is robustness and simplicity.
Yes.
Now, if you look at our battery compared to other competitors, we don't do big LCD screens, we don't have lots of additional outputs. It's very rudimentarily simple, but by doing so, it's incredibly robust. The concept is there's less inside, there's less to go wrong.
And you've mentioned something, we're expecting a V-mount version of these.
Correct.
Anytime soon?
We're hoping by the end of Q2 this year.
We all know Viltrox recently released the NexusFocus F1, the first PL to Eve autofocus control system for cine lenses. That alone is interesting. But my real question was simple. Is this coming to the L-mount systems?
Is this coming to RF? Is it coming to L-mounts?
L-mount work.
L-mount first. Nice.
L-mount first. Yeah, I have the Lumix.
Yeah, I use the Lumix as well, so I'm wondering.
Color is better than the Sony.
So
and the Canon.
You mentioned when? Can you say it or you just have
this
to wait?
year, middle this year. Yeah.
Looking forward to having this at L-mount.
100% have the L-mount.
And that's a wrap for what interested me at BSC Expo 2026. There were a few other things from Sony, but didn't really catch my attention. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Remember, it's a filmmaker. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stuff like this. God bless and peace.